Hello, my name is Gail Teeter, and I'm the Vice President of Federal Sales at goTenna. goTenna is a mesh networking platform that enables real-time communications and situational awareness, even when no other form of traditional comms like cell service, Wi-Fi, RF tower, satellite, or traditional fixed infrastructure are available. In this virtual demo, you're going to learn how to leverage goTenna Pro mesh networking radio devices for wildland firefighting. Communications failures, congested networks, service delays, and dead zones. They all happen. We've seen them initially with disasters such as Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Maria, where we lose our communications. But mission critical operations, these things can prevent important information traveling from point A to point B, or what the telecommunications industry refers to as the last mile. As wildland firefighters, the last mile is probably all too familiar. In dense forest and mountainous terrain, the nearest cell or radio tower might be miles away, making comms unreliable in remote areas in the best of circumstances. As we've seen in especially devastated areas, like during the Camp Fire in California, our fixed infrastructure and towers are never invincible. There are times when centralized comms aren't available at all. I'm really excited to introduce goTenna in this virtual demo and how we solve the problems faced in the last mile. Before we dive in, here's a quick overview of what I'd like to cover. What is the goTenna Pro? How it works. I'm going to review some case studies, some recommended gear that you may find helpful with the deployment of goTenna, and the other resources that you can share with your team. If you are joining for a live broadcast, please feel free to submit your questions throughout the presentation, but we'll also address some frequently asked questions at the end of the recorded version. At goTenna, we set out to develop the world's smallest, lightest, and most cost-effective communication system in order to address universal challenges that are faced in the last mile. One of our Pro or Pro X tactical grade mesh networking devices combined with the smartphone already in your pocket creates a single node in a fully off-grid network. Together, a group of these nodes ensure mobile connectivity in any environment. A mesh network radio system does not rely on towers, base stations, hubs, repeaters, vehicle repeaters, and all the data is transmitted device to device via radio frequencies. The radio frequencies are licensed radio frequencies that you're not going to have to worry about interference from any other frequency. These are specifically licensed to the end user. goTenna's mesh networking technology specifically supports low bandwidth data transmissions. goTenna mesh networking technology specifically supports low bandwidth data transmissions in order to support the most critical functions for team-wide situational awareness and command and control. When traditional comms fail, your team using a mobile app or our Pro app or ATAC can send position location updates, mark and share critical areas on the map, and message or broadcast new information to the entire team. For those of you who are already familiar with mesh networking, you might be used to devices that are heavy, expensive, and incredibly difficult for your team to implement and deploy. At best, most fire agencies can only afford to have a few of these devices in the hands of crew bosses or operations chiefs. We've taken that traditional mesh radio and flipped it. We really believe a device that's optimized for size, weight, power, and cost make it easier for crews to extend off-grid connectivity down to every individual firefighter in the field. So here's a look at our mesh networking platform and how it works in more detail. goTenna Pro and Pro X's are 5-watt VHF, UHF tunable devices. As I said earlier, these are public safety frequencies that are licensed only for public safety use. Using a Bluetooth LE or USB tether connection, the radio pairs with any iOS or Android mobile device to enable critical functions in commonly used situational awareness apps. The goTenna Pro model is compatible with your native situational awareness app. goTenna Pro X devices support integration with third-party apps. Today, we have customers using the military and civilian versions of ATAC, as well as Aegis LifeRing. We are currently in the process of developing integrations with Fire Response and Tablet Command, which both provide command and end user level features for firefighting specifically. As you can see here, we also offer an SDK in case agencies or other third-party app providers want to develop their own customized app. However, it's important to note that the goTenna Pro and Pro X devices don't always need to be paired with a smartphone or tablet. Each device can also operate in a standalone relay mode, which, when breadcrumbed in a remote area or attached to an aerial asset, can extend your ad hoc network range. What we do is we take these devices and we put them into repeat mode. They're no longer paired to a smart device. We can high point them in a tree or on a mountainside, or put them in a UAV, and now we've extended our network. We've done this on the island of Puerto Rico. We've done this on the US-Mexico border, as well as the US-Canadian border, extending our network range by 50 to 100 miles at any given time, just by having some of these units in repeat mode that are high pointed. I also wanted to do a quick video of our deployment kit. This ruggedized case supports seamless device management in the field. It comes with the standard 20 Pro or Pro X devices, but also allows teams to store, charge, and maintain up to 30 devices. This is a great asset for crews on multi-day deployments or quick, rapid responses on the go. The kit itself can come preloaded with maps, with other applications that you may be using. And then the kit can function as a Wi-Fi network, so that if you're operating during Hurricane Maria and you have a lot of volunteers that are coming in, all they need is their smartphones. This is smartphone ready. They can download the apps directly from the kit, and then they can download the tunable frequencies that the goTenna device itself will be tuned to. And now within 10 to 15 minutes, all of your volunteer agencies that have come in are now all operating on the same frequency set with the same apps, simply by downloading them from the kit itself. And on the software side, here's a closer look at some of the fully off-grid mapping capabilities in our native goTenna Pro app. Crews can set up a geofence alert to notify the sender as well as the individual who enters a marked zone. To create this alert, all you have to do is create your shape, name it no-go, go zone, change the color, select the geofence, and then set the alerts when people enter or exit those areas. Our firefighting customers use our mapping tools to mark dangerous areas, containment zones, search areas, truck locations. If an individual firefighter is about to cross the fire line into a dangerous territory, for example, the app will alert them so that they can course correct. Our mesh networking technology also supports this functionality in third-party apps like ATAC, for those who are more familiar with some of the existing apps that are out there. So what could this look like in practice? In the midst of a wildfire, individual crew members can create an ad hoc mobile network of devices and phones. Here's a hypothetical situation where one team is connected to LTE or satellite and stays connected with another unit via goTenna Pro without cell service or Wi-Fi. On the right, you'll see that there is a team of wildland firefighters in the heat of the battle connected solely using their goTenna Pro mesh networking devices and their smartphones. At this point, they do not rely on a radio tower, cell phone tower, or any other fixed infrastructure. They're able to text each other, track each other's locations, and create map markings in areas of interest. As you can see, they are also connected to another team of firefighters in the valley through a relay node. By placing a goTenna Pro device in a relay or repeat mode between different groups of firefighters, you can still stay connected. Even if you don't have users carrying the device, you can still bounce it down to the goTenna network. You can set devices in relay mode and attach it to an aerial asset like a UAV or helicopter. These aerial nodes also create an extended line of sight and overall network range. So if you're doing water operations in a helo, or you've got a UAV that's videoing other potential areas, simply attaching the goTenna Pro or Pro X to those will extend your range. I attached a goTenna Pro, put it in relay mode, and put it on a helo skid. Extended our range almost 42 miles from point to point just by literally duct taping it to a helo skid. Lastly, on the very left, you will see a command post. If just one person on the goTenna mesh network has LTE or satellite connected device, they can backhaul all off-grid data for the rest of the team. So instead of needing to put a satellite phone on every single operator, you can have one out there, and this will backhaul all of your goTenna information back to your TAC server or whatever type of server that you're utilizing. It's important to note that a mesh network can work in a complete absence of centralized infrastructure or work as a backup to augment existing satellite systems. So now you know a bit more about us and about our mesh networking technology. Here's a brief overview of our customers today. The earliest goTenna Pro users were primarily in the defense and intelligence market, but there's also been an increasing adaptation in emergency management, law enforcement, fire, and some commercial use cases. Our devices have been used on active wildfire deployments since 2018, primarily with agencies in California, Colorado, and Texas. So to give you an idea of the impact goTenna is providing on the fire line, I wanted to quickly walk through a case study from one of our customers, the Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control. On day one of the Cabin Lake fire, this particular hand crew only relied on cell service. They frequently lost connections to the closest cell towers and noticed GPS locations jumping on the map in their preferred mobile app, ATAC. On day two of the fire, they used a combination of cell service and goTenna. When cell service became unreliable, the mesh network allowed the crew to maintain ATAC connectivity without any manual effort required to switch. They didn't have to do anything. The software allows it to switch on its own without them, having to enter anything into the devices. During this particular incident, the fire had reached an aspen tree grove area, which started a multitude of spot fires. With limited visibility, ATAC connectivity was crucial to track individual firefighter movement and ensure safety. But even in steady operations, the availability to share fire perimeter updates and comms in comm-denied areas also assisted with operational efficiency. Crew bosses could accurately and more frequently relay progress back to division. As you well know, each and every tool we use in the field has its own unique deployment considerations. goTenna Pro devices are tactical grade and built to IP68 specifications. However, we've dealt with teams operating in the most remote and rugged environments in the world. So typically we could recommend some additional inexpensive accessories for that extra peace of mind. Two vendors, Mystery Ranch and Bunker, make protective MOLLE cases specifically designed for the goTenna Pro and Pro X devices. And if your agency is also using mobile devices for the first time, we also similarly recommend protective phone cases for your smartphones from Juggernaut or CAGWorks. In order to provide extra battery life for both your Pro and your mobile device, we also recommend bringing an external solar bank or portable battery that can continuously charge your goTenna Pro during your mission. I want to make sure it's clear, our goTenna Pro is actually going to last the normal duration of mission life, whether it's 8, 12 to 16 hours. However, your smart devices, whether they're utilizing ATAC or some other third-party devices, have a tendency to begin draining sooner than that. So we recommend this battery life primarily for your smart device, but it will also extend your mission critical life for your goTenna from 12 to 16 hours to 24 to 36 hours. I'd like to quickly call attention to a blog called The Last Mile, a publication sponsored by goTenna Pro. We collect the latest news and information on off-grid comms across public safety and defense, and you can find more great resources here to share with the rest of your team. Before we take some Q&A, I wanted to make sure you all have my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me via email or LinkedIn with any questions following this presentation. Let's go ahead and dive into some questions. Does goTenna Pro support voice? No. goTenna's Aspen Grove mesh networking protocols are designed to support short burst data transmissions like personal location, updates, mapping, text-based messaging. Our low bandwidth networks allow us to build radio devices that are smaller, lighter, and more cost-effective than traditional mesh networks. But most importantly, it allows us to get the kind of range that is unheard of in other RF type solutions. Our units can broadcast typically 2 to 4 miles between devices with line of sight without any additional elevation. That gives you a mesh network, if you're talking 10 to 20 units, of literally 20 to 50 miles. And that's where the trade-off with the voice comes. We have decided that we want to have that long-reaching network that is stable and capable of operating in any type of environment. Most of our customers, however, augment voice communications with goTenna Pro or Pro X devices. In many instances, more frequent and accurate location tracking through the mesh network means teams can restrict voice radio traffic to essential mission updates. We have some areas, especially in the operations down on the border, where goTenna Pro X has actually become their primary communications for security reasons, and its ability to, again, stretch their networks for miles versus the smaller reliance that they have on radio towers. Unlike Pro devices, Pro X supports integration with third-party mobile applications. In addition to using our native Pro app, teams can extend the use of existing apps like ATAC even further off the grid. What is the difference between goTenna Pro and Pro X? The Pro X, we have integration with third-party applications. In addition to using our native app that's available on the Pro, teams can extend the use of existing apps like ATAC, Fire Command, Tablet Command, and other third parties, extending their off-grid capabilities. Is it possible to breadcrumb goTenna Pro device? Well, breadcrumb, yes. What breadcrumbs means is putting these devices in repeat mode like we talked about earlier and extending the distance. So the device is not connected to a smart device. It's high pointed or put in a UAV, and we can connect these multiple times up to 5 different hops where they're breadcrumbed, and we can stretch 10 to 20 miles in between the breadcrumbs to create this mobile network. Like you saw in the picture earlier, where we have one unit operating on one side of a valley and one on the other side, we just breadcrumb or high point one in the middle, and it creates this complete network. It also works when you're doing caves or subterranean environments. What is the max goTenna Pro network range? Range is dependent on the number of nodes that you have, as well as the terrain. Our customers experience team will be happy to support your team in advance of a deployment. If you have any questions on how to maximize your network setup, just think of it as if you can see a point, then the goTenna network will operate between there and that point. If there's a mountain in between, we'll need to high point one. If there's a cavern down low, we'll need to drop one down low to keep the network completed. But the network is flexible and moves. So as your team moves along the side of a mountain, the network itself will flex with your team. I can say from personal experience that we've conducted testing that has stretched across the entire island of Puerto Rico and 2 mountain ranges that were in between. And we simply high pointed on each one of those mountain ranges, and we were able to stretch over 120 miles with 5 devices total. I know there are some other presenters following up, so if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or reach out to me directly. I look forward to any other questions that y'all may have. Thanks for taking the time to listen.